Welcome, IT changemakers, to the DEX show with Tim Flower and Tom McGraw. Let's get into it.
Hello, changemakers. Welcome back to the DEX show. I'm Tom McGraw. I'm joined as ever by my main man, Tim Flower. How you doing, Tim?
Hey, Tom, good. I hear you've been like me, traveling around a little bit, so curious to catch up on that. We can do that some other time, though. Hope it was a good trip.
I've been in Silicon Valley. They wanted to pick my brains about a few things.
Yeah.
Okay, they flew me over. They asked me some questions, and some changes coming. Some changes coming on the West Coast, as a consequence. But more on that and non-listeners, and I'm of course being slightly sarcastic. But speaking of the future, which it is a bit like visiting the future when you go out west, Tim, from UK. We are joined today by absolutely one of our favorite analysts, and if you will, futurists, Mrinal Rai. Tim and I have both been enjoying his work, both his analysis and his visual work, which is, I think, rather a sort of striking difference. And he brings a really sharp perspective on how organizations can drive value through smarter digital transformation. We're delighted to finally have him on the show. Mrinal, how you doing?
Thanks, Tom. Hi, Tim. Great to be here. I'm doing good. And it's great to be part of the DEX show. I've been listening to some of the episodes, and they're really interesting and really encouraging for the enterprise clients as well as the folks I work with. I think they're all fan of the DEX show. So great to
Love it. Love it. Mutual appreciation, Mrinal, because you're absolutely one of our favorite analysts. And I would say one of the most creative analysts out there. First of all, for anyone not familiar with your work, maybe give us a potted bio, quick overview.
Sure, thanks. My name is Mrinal Rai. I am based in India, and I have been a thought leader and industry analyst for a long time. So I was part of information services group for last 12 years. I was tracking digital workplace services, end user computing, and I like exploring these technologies, be it end user computing, digital workplace, unified communication, collaboration, enterprise collaboration. And I recently joined an organization called Pomeroy, where I work as an executive client advisor, where I work with the clients, understand their key pain points with respect to workplace and IT estate, and help them overcome these challenges and help Pomeroy develop solutions to address these client issues.
Fab. And as anyone who knows just work knows, you bring a little artistic flair to your industry analysis, to almost everything you do, right? And you're an award-winning artist as well, we read. So tell us a bit about that side of your work and your life. And
Yeah. So I'm also a graphic novelist and a comic book writer, and I've also written few novels and some comic books. I was chosen as the best artist or best cartoonist in India by a Fandom Awards for Indian comics, and I do create those comic books based on Indian history and scriptures, and also about some favorite genres like horror, crime, the mystery. I'm actually writing a book right now, which actually relates the AI revolution that we are seeing, and how can we foresee a futuristic vision where robots have actually taken over, they have messed up everything, and now the world is coping up. So that's something in works.
And so, Morale, it's always great to connect with like-minded folks, IT pros who share the passion for a specific discipline. How did you come to specialize in this, or how did you kind of uncover that passion for digital employee experience specifically?
Sure, Tim. I've been covering this space for digital workplace for last 12 years or more. I think I'm still part of a thought leadership team here. I'm part of many editorial teams for many websites which write articles about workplace, unified communication, and collaboration. So when I started my research on this, I was actually comparing these service providers, global system integrators, and managed service providers who provide these services. And that's when I came to know that initially there was a lot of focus on automation analytics coming from these telemetry tools, and that's how I got introduced to the DEX tools. And when I 2 3 years ago, when I actually started looking at this market, I actually worked on my own vendor comparison of the DEX space, and I actually foresee that at that time that the DEX solutions have a larger scope. It's not just about telemetry, and it's not just about devices. And when I used to foresee the digital workplace of the future or the workplace technology ecosystem, I could foresee as a personal digital assistant or secretary. I'm talking 5 6 years ago. And I think the foundational step for that future was to have the analytics that comes from DEX tools. So that's how I got interested in these tools, and that's how I started tracking maybe next thing or many of the competitors of in this space. And that's how I'm always intrigued by how this space has evolved. It's not just about devices and telemetry anymore. It covers many more aspects. It covers more than devices now, and it's becoming a strategic area for those enterprise clients and service providers who want to bring a transformation in their technology ecosystem. So that's how it started, Tim.
That's cool. You've got, like Tom said, we follow your work. You've got a cool post up on LinkedIn about a month ago, the cartoon track and field event with all the DEX runners lined up at the starting line. Obviously, next thing there prominently. We've spent a long time or a lot of time looking at this year's Magic Quadrant from Gartner here at Next Think. But what stood out to you the most? Was it the vendor placements or the evaluation criteria or the scores themselves? What intrigued you about that report?
I think what intrigued me was actually how the space has evolved. So, since I'm not associated with any research firm right now, so I can actually give my commentary about a Magic Quadrant by Gartner. And it was a very well written report. And through this platform, I would again like to congratulate the analyst who wrote that report. And it's a very great analysis about the market. What intrigued me, Tim, was how, as I said, how the market has evolved beyond devices and everything. So, interestingly, it's not just about AI, because every DEX vendor talks about AI. They are bringing it in one way or another. When I did my 2025 predictions for digital workplace, I wrote that this will be the year of DEX plus plus. So it's not just about DEX. What can you do in addition to DEX? Like, you have a DEX solution, fine, but how can you integrate that to bring a more business value or business outcomes, integrating with other enterprise business functions, be it HR, be it other horizontal business areas, and how can you integrate the insights from these solutions to bring a real business outcome? Unified communication again is a very important aspect. It's not just about monitoring, but also bringing in the experience flavor out of it. And of course, digital adoption platform, I think that is a great space that we want to look at. That it's not just about technology, but how well it is adopted. So it was very intriguing and very interesting for me that Gartner looked at all these areas, and that's why
All right.
I really like the report. I gave a quick review. I completely agree with the vendor analysis, and this market is evolving, and we will see. I foresee some more mergers and acquisitions in this space, as I wrote in my article.
Yeah, I agree with that. Consolidation is always a part of the technology industry. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. You've been highlighting, and one of the important things about NextSync, or the intriguing things for me about NextSync, is with our scope and scale, we can continue to innovate and broaden that definition of what DEX is and what can you do beyond just the analytics. And we've been doing that for decades now. What we've recently done is added the ability to do digital adoption, right? The DAP platform. You've been consistently highlighting the importance of bridging the disciplines of DEX and DAPs. Why is that important to you? What does it actually look like for an enterprise trying to make that connection?
So I think in my work with enterprise clients and technology vendors, we have to understand that after at the end of the day, we are dealing with humans. It's not just about technology. So whatever you implement, it has to get used. It has to get adopted. Digital workplace is an area where every technology that has come in the consumer world eventually found its place in the workplace. I started with end user computing, mobile device management, and unified endpoint management, virtual desktops. So as mobile devices became a part of a common person's daily life, it didn't until that happened. Enterprises didn't have to worry about MDM or UEM. So you have to make sure that your technologies are actually adopted, accepted by the enterprise to actually bring in that change. As I see today working with the clients, many AI projects or many transformation projects fail just because they don't plan the adoption part properly. That's why providing a technology and how well the users are using it, these are two different things, and that can actually screw up at the entire a project if it is not adopted well. That's why digital adoption becomes a very integral part, particularly with workplace, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with employee experience, and employees are humans. So, and humans do take their own time to adopt those solutions. So I think DAP is an increasingly important aspect to look at when you consider employee experience through technology.
Really well said, Manuel. And I was going to say, loved hearing the shout out to the Magic Quadrant as well. And shout out to our friends at Gartner for another phenomenal report. We keep meaning to cover it in a bit more detail, so it was nice to kind of explore that a bit with you, Manuel. But let's talk about AI. I should just add, listeners can find the report in the show notes. They can download their own copy free of charge right now. So go and do that, won't you, while you listen? But as AI becomes more embedded in DEX platforms, how do you see it transforming the way that IT delivers support and value to businesses?
Sure. So, when I work with the clients, mostly the focus was initially on automation, right? I'm doing patch management, I'm doing device management. How can I automate those things? So, of course, AI has a lot of scope to automate most of these parts. But the scope of AI is much beyond that. I foresee more focus on contextualization. It's not just about how well the device is being used and the telemetry that is coming in, but focusing on the user, their profile, the work that they do, how it relates to other things that they do, and collecting information from multiple sources, making that judgment based on the user persona, user profile, their work areas. I think that's where a lot of focus can be given using AI. There are areas like knowledge management, sentiment analysis, and a lot of things that we can do with artificial intelligence. Right now, the focus is only on automating what already is done through workflow charts or something. But if we use AI properly, we can implement that in additional areas like understanding the user's sentiments and employee experience, and expanding on that. For example, even if I'm using Microsoft Teams, for example, and I want to raise a request on my, I would just want to type in that what is my vacation balance. I don't want to tell which HR system I'm using. I don't want to bother on all of those things. But the AI can be contextual. They know who am I, what is my leave balance. They can go to the HR system. They can also know if what are the projects that I'm working on. If I want to take leave on a particular day, the system can actually go back and say that there is a scheduled project delivery at that time. So maybe it's not advisable to take a leave. So you understand the focus of being a true digital assistant is what the AI can build in. Unfortunately, many organizations that are still at the first stage of automating patch management kind of work with AI, but it has a lot of scope with IT support and enhancing employee experience.
And this may just be asking you to expand a little bit on that thought, but AI, like you said, it's kind of table stakes now. It's been around for literally for decades. The next thing's roots go back to an AI institute and a postgraduate study, and we've been doing it for literally more than 20 years. But automation has been around even longer. Where do you think AI is starting to add the most value in the deck space? Is it decision making? Is it accessibility? Is it actually creating intelligent automation versus just scripted? Is it building trust with end users? What do you think the AI really has the most value in the deck space?
Yeah, I think all the areas that you mentioned, but I think the more value is coming from orchestration.
Mm.
Every tool has an AI agent right now, and the challenge that clients are facing is how can I make value out of the insights coming from these disparate tools to have an orchestration layer to collect all that information from these disparate tools, making a sense out of it. And with agentic AI, I think that's a great advancement in technologies and how you can free up most of the resources to take out the mundane task. I still work with organizations that have humans dealing with patch management kind of work, or group user policies, and looking at all those dashboards and how to make sense of it. All of these can be automated. So I think consolidating all of these things improve decision making for IT admins, and of course enhance employee experience on that. So it has a lot of scope. Depends on the organization's appetite for improving in terms of adoption and change management. There's a lot of scope that AI can provide for enhancing the employee experience.
And one of the biggest problems that I've seen, and folks that are regular listeners or following me online, you know that I've traveled 13 out of the last 26 weeks. So basically 50% of my job has been living out of a suitcase. But I'm talking to executives all over the world. And the one common theme that I can say without question from everybody is the concern about adoption, and especially adoption of AI itself. And I think it's interesting to use AI to help with that adoption problem. And you recently explored AI's evolving role in digital adoption platforms. What's the most exciting use case you're seeing emerge beyond just the standard walkthroughs and tooltips?
Imagine a digital adoption solution or platform that knows that you are stuck before you get stuck. So it can maybe thinking on those lines, like you imagine a DAP that knows where that you're going to get stuck, one that understands your role, your task, your deadlines, and maybe perhaps even your sentiment. So I think that is a great area that that digital adoption platforms can focus on, and this will be coming very soon, because we live in an era, Tim and Tom, that AI, as Satya Nadella rightly said, that AI is the future interface. You may not be working with so many applications. You may be just interacting with one AI interface, and what goes in the background, what gets encapsulated for the user doesn't matter, because if you want something, they may be the system may be interacting with multiple files and multiple Excel spreadsheets or PowerPoint to get you the data. But to understand that how users are feeling, where they are going to get stuck, and making sure that the users know how to use these new technologies. It's all about it's not just about prompt engineering, but also making sure that that the AI features that get used by every enterprise and every tool right now, the user has that the steep as the quick learning path to get to know to work with these tools better. Like making sure that the DAP tool understands that the going that you are going to get stuck at a particular step. It needs to preempt that, and inform the user, and make sure that they are aware of all the possible steps of actions that they can take. So I think a more proactive approach within AI is very useful for the digital adoption solution. I think that's where most of these vendors will be focusing on, because earlier I remember DAP was more about there's a tool, there are features that on the screen, it will guide you that how, if you click on this feature, what's going to happen. But with interface becoming more AI focused, it will be just one interface. You don't have to click too much. So making sure that what you are doing and how well you do it, the system should be able to guide you on that. And that's an interesting space to look out for. I know it's not there right now, but that's the feature that we can all get prepared for.
Absolutely. And another area where I think what you write about and your perspective really complements some topics and themes that we've been looking into on the show this year is that cross-functional collaboration piece between HR and IT. I mean, why do you think that DEX beyond IT conversation has become so important right now?
As I say, because when I was part of end user computing's research organization at ISG, we learned that clients, when they're not focusing only on the end user computing space, I think digital workplace is an area that cuts across both IT infrastructure and front facing employee and customer experience. So both the back end IT and the front end applications get they connect at the end user computing space. So if you want to bring in a real business transformation through digital workplace, it has to connect with other business functions. So it's not just about, otherwise it's like somebody IT team is doing a great job, they may get recognized or they may not, but you will not be able to give a real visible business out benefit. And for example, we are working here at Pomeroy, we are working on a unified intelligence desk, where using only one interface, you can get your issues resolved for HR, for marketing, for legal, for sales. You reach out to the users where they are. If they are working on Teams or Slack, you use the same interface, you reduce the context switching, but you make sure that employees can get all of these things done without actually interacting with different business functions. You don't have to open, say, ADP or PeopleSoft for different things, or for any payroll. You get everything done in one place. That's what employee experience is. That's what the technology backbone is. User cares about their experience. They don't want to go through different application. I think that's the area where we combine IT with multiple function, and that's when you talk to a vendor, or that's the language even the clients understand. Because today, when I talk to an enterprise client leader, business leader, even they don't start at page number 1 or 2 of a user manual. Even they know till page number 10. So every business leader knows technology, and every technology leader knows business. So it's important that you target your solutions in such a way that you cater to the requirement of both the audience.
100%. And Indeed, it's sort of connecting the last two sort of subtopics. Your recent research at Pomeroy touches on empathy in AI. How can AI systems, in your view, be designed to improve trust and emotional experiences for employees, not just the productivity gains that we hear spoken about more often?
Yes. So when we talk about empathy, I think we should look at AI that responds with empathy. They can adopt the tone. It learns your preferences, that what you like, what you dislike, and it can avoid, especially the cold scripts that system generates. And I think emotional intelligence is an area which can be next frontier for artificial intelligence with respect to empathy. An example that I just gave, that if you provide users solutions where they are, like you meet the users where they are instead of having them to use a new tool. I think that's a very good example of how you being empathetic to the employees, that you understand that they don't have to scroll to multiple applications to get their work done. So I think with artificial intelligence, you have all the potential to understand the user tone, make sure that you write the way. Again, the contextual AI piece becomes very important, that you should know who the user is, what they're working on, how big the deadline is. So it's not just about the user and the persona. Your system should get connect to your work management portal, be it Monday or Asana. You know what they're working on, what are their deadlines. You should know the emails, because being a Microsoft shop, you can get insights from Outlook, Teams, and all those things, and get what they're working on, whom they're interacting with, what is their schedule. And that's how you adopt to that user behavior and their preferences. I think that's where the empathy will bring in. I think there are a lot of work being done by multiple solution vendors out there, and clients would really appreciate that.
Incredible. And Mana, I want to just round things off with a couple of questions for you that touch upon that kind of the two sides of your creativity. And one, who inspires you both as an analyst and as an artist, first of all?
Okay, that's a good question. So when I started as an analyst role, I didn't start as an industry analyst going forward. So I was working with Excel files, understanding these concepts and comparing these vendors. But I was reading articles by Brian Maiden, and he's the although I have him connected through LinkedIn. I never met him, but I do love what he writes. He make the technology concepts so easy to understand, because I understood end user computing, VDI, MDM through his articles when he used to write for Tech Target. Now he's part of Citrix, but I still follow him. He's the best on the stage, and how he talks. There are multiple analysts in Gartner, Forrester, Everest, who track end user computing space. I follow all of them. And Brian Midden is not really an analyst, but he's a thought leader. And that's why he inspires me as being an analyst. Being an artist, there are multiple folks out there. I can't name one because I didn't learn it. I was just doing it since I don't even remember. But yeah, there are the Jim Lee. I like his work for a lot of the comic books that he does, and there are just many. So yeah, multiple folks who inspire.
This is the last two-sided question, so to speak, which is, where can people find your graphic novels?
So the title name, if the name is like the latest one was released in September. Its name is Brigu. It's available on Amazon. It's BHRIGU. You can find on Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes and Nobles, and all the major retail stores. There are a couple of other graphic novels out there. If you just click on my name, you will get them on Amazon. So there are a couple of books out there, but that's the latest one. So you can search from there.
Superb. And links in the show notes to that work, as well as Mrinal's amazing analysis, and also, as mentioned already, the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Get your free download now if you haven't already. It's a fantastic read. Congratulations to our friends at Gartner. It really is a phenomenal installment of what is now the MQ DEX series.
Someday we'll figure out how to get Dan Wilson onto the show, right?
It's impossible. It's impossible, Tim. We'd love to, Darren. We'd love to. We're open to be there. Just shout out to you anyway. Absolutely. Mana, absolute pleasure to have you on, man. Do join us again, won't you?
Sure. Thanks, Tim. Thank you. Thanks.
To make sure that you never miss an episode, subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast player. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a rating of the show. Just tap the number of stars you think the podcast deserves. If you'd like to learn more about how NextThink can help you improve your digital employee experience, head over to nextthink.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.